All right, everyone. Know it's been a while. Been dealing with some personal issues, in my life, and I've been writing, but haven't really had a chance to really sit down and actually make any videos. Just it's not exactly always as easy for me to actually read the poems out loud. Got a bit of a speech impediment, and sometimes I'll actually just send people a copy of my poems with just a basic auto generated voice, nothing too complicated, and just to kind of get around that little limitation. But when I do finally decide to sit down, it's always something pretty good. So this one's going to be a little bit on the lighter side. Um, One poem actually asked someone and said for a writing prompt recently, ended up being pretty long and pretty dark. I mean, like to the point where actually someone I sent it to saying you definitely need therapy. And I hate to tell them is that this was the kind of therapy. It's just a way for me to get negative thoughts out in a safer manner rather than just basically walking up to someone and just going on a rant like I'm a madman. But this one's a lot lighter. Kind of hard to maybe describe it. It's kind of, you can almost would say it's kind of like black licorice, um, where in this case, plenty of people do like it, but even though it's not, it's a different flavor. Let's put it that way. But that's kind of what you would kind of call the darker stuff. This one's at least what I would say like half black licorice and then half other kinds of red licorice. I mean, there's who knows what kind of flavors they can make nowadays, but a little bit sweeter, and definitely kind of you know portrays probably a much better message than just saying life sucks. You know, but but unlike other ones, I couldn't really think of a clever title, for this thing. So rather than making everyone guess, this a tribute to the song artist Fight for Fighting. He's probably best known for the songs Superman and 100 Years. In this case, uh, just just kind of make you wonder, if you hear about certain music from your past, it's like, well, let's see how long they've been in business and to see if they have a discography long enough to actually create something, because sometimes you just never know what you're going to get. Even if you could have something very positive, they may only have like 3 or 4 albums in their entire career. And so, and they may be so random that it's kind of hard for people to kind of pick out the individual spots to guess that, well, this kind of sounds like this, or no, it sounds more like that. So yeah, so at least I told you what it is. So hopefully you'll actually give the guy a listen. So one fact of life is that the world isn't flawless, but that just means we all have to do what we can to ensure there's something to call home for many years to come. But it's hard to take things day by day when things change so quickly, said from feeling lighter than air to down the dumps for extended periods to keep some kind of strange balance labeled as all right. It said, but is never given a proper title or explanation. No matter how many, it said, attempts to explain the process, nobody knows the secret to true happiness or how to share it with those who have lost hope of ever finding a way out of the dull routine life uses to cast an illusion of safety so that no one can rebel and see that they can take some control of their destinies by taking chances to see if happiness returns from trying instead anything different without worry. It said even if miracles don't happen every day, we've come really far in the last 100 years with new technologies, all in the name of progress. However, it often fails to answer the riddle of why humans must try to claim everything in their path, so with big cities serving as a reminder of our legacy and loud call to action to other nations to do the same so everyone can appear to be happy at some odd point. Not everyone can have everything they want or get the chance to do things like going to Disneyland to live it up with famous characters or get to swim it in a crystal clear ocean under a gentle sky to feel instead to feel instead anything above the normalcy they see stretching beyond. Some once white picket fence said in great need of a fresh coat of paint to distract from the garden lying long dried up, unable to provide a scrap of food. A lot of people look up instead to superheroes like Superman or Captain America for being so powerful. But instead for them, it said it's not easy being it said being the pinnacle of power, said while wanting a normal life, and said where they don't have to worry, said much about the next colossal wave of danger, said in the battle, said for everything good to know that whatever tiny slice of paradise they created will last a little longer as glory continues to slip away into the abyss. Much like us trapped in the normal world, heroes need friends for events like Taco Tuesday, said to ponder and said how to navigate the future without having bookmarks to preserve the good moments, and said for dark times, said drifting by like a boat parade that never ends with the allure of something nice. However, it takes far too long, said to pass, and everyone feels trapped. Like life says, you'll never change anything if you enjoy a vast sea of mundane, said because heaven knows if there's anybody left, said wanting to have something new. For those who believe they were born to win, there will always be, said too many that never get a fair shot to fight for a better tomorrow, and finally experience the taste of victory, sweeter than anything else, said that came before because freedom never cries for not having enough already or has to struggle to provide more in this dance of consumerism that never ceases as more instead of pointless delights are created. You don't have to be in a crowded place to survive. It says many can be 10 miles from nowhere and get along fine without the latest gadgets or have to hear the latest love song from an artist doomed to be forgotten before the month is over. Instead, because if going to sleep is easy tonight, they can do the same for as long as possible, even if the rest of humanity is out of love and doesn't know how to obtain more. Only you can write the story of your life, says, because only you know all the good times and bad that were able to shape you into the person today, as well as some days you felt like you were dying. You found life again by asking, what if I try one more day to see if there was something to give you strength to see a time not bound by grief? And while love can't change the weather, it said, it can help find those who are lost. It said, no matter what you think of my words of wisdom, I'm not some wise man who has spent years trying to solve life's mysteries to become some kind of legend. Said maybe I can find some solace in various forms of music, but I write to purge my negative emotions. Said when I can't stand up to my problems in public or risk making things worse. And I won't ask who will save my life tonight with a little compassion after being an infidel who was said tired of being treated less than human by good people. My life is far from perfect, but I'm glad to have people who make me feel above the timberline of the great mountains around us. And while some days it feels like I only have two lights for guidance, it means I'm not totally in the dark, and I don't have to worry. And said, when I ask, do you mind lending me an ear? Because if you don't care, then I don't want your love, and said, only have it taken away like others before. One thing I always wonder is if one man can change the world, and while such an ordeal takes a very long time to produce results, I trust I can transfer a little of my experience to you to help disclose an alternative view of life while showing something about you that might have been waiting for a chance to take center stage to guide others. And while it's not the road to heaven, the fact that you found this poem meant your life has changed, becoming one more for love that fuels a brighter tomorrow. So yeah, you know, not it said just kind always just kind of felt be one of those. I always felt like I was one of those people that they always say, "Oh, you," said, "you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that," and said, "Here, it's gonna be amazing." But I have had people come and go, thinking that it's like, oh, don't worry, we're going to help you, we're going to help you. And you ask, over and over, how exactly, have you been? I'm not always invested in someone's, social media because too many people put, random stuff on there, but it's not like the biggest, part. It's just kind of like, it's, I guess it's almost kind of like like listening to a song that is the title of the album, and you're wondering, how did this get, why was this chosen to be the title? And it's like, and no one will give you an answer why. So just kind of like, so it's like you keep asking, and then nothing happens. It's kind of like, people when people lose their faith in whatever religion they practice, it's like if they haven't seen anything good in so long, it's like I've done everything right, I still hold everything, or people that are just like that, and they face tragedy after tragedy after tragedy, and you wondered, well, how should I worship someone like that? You know, because like you don't want, if someone says, "Oh, you'll get everything," in the afterlife. The problem is that if everything that determines what kind of afterlife we get is done in the present, you don't want to be the person that says, "I hate this world." This is why I want to. It said I did, a bunch of terrible things to people, and it said and found greater happiness than sitting in a doing the same old stuff everyone else was. Just like if you really want to be, truly happy, in life, you gotta kind of find your own way to, look at the world. I mean, world's not exactly the best right now. Where I live right now, I said we were lucky with the hurricane. Yeah, we didn't get too totally bogged down. So, but it was like right around us, there were some pretty rough spots, and places are still dealing with lack of power, lack of clean water. So sometimes you can count that as a blessing, but it was just like, how exactly were we supposed? Everyone else was supposed to prepare. I mean, it's just kind of hard, going through life, and sometimes that's why you need a couple people. Just really say, we'll look after you, when everyone else does. Because I've got a few people I work with that barely know anything about me, and it's like they've never really tried to get to know me. And the people that have tried, have seen me at a pretty ugly point. I've heard some pretty ugly stories, but they understand that I'm here now, far from all the darkness, and trying to make a go of life. Hoping that everything is going to be better. And those people, I wish I could spend a lot more time with, but um, life just kind of gets in the way. So, uh, not entirely sure what I might upload next. I mean, I might read that really dark poem, but it's a lot longer, and it did kind of, hit it, kind of hits your where it hurts the most. So it said I might either release that in parts or just try to go for broke, but I definitely do need to practice it. So thank you for listening. Hope everyone has a good week. Okay, and see you next time.